Welcome back, guys. I hope you all are having a happy hump day. Welcome back to Breaking Bad. I am Vanessa. Follow me at agape love underscore breaking. Breaking Bad, breaking apart.
This isn't Breaking Bad. This is the Breaking Apart
Oh, you didn't know
podcast.
that,
Come on,
though.
Vanessa. Come on, Vanessa. We give you the
Can
intro.
we do
You got to get it right.
Because I forgot. Where's this?
Okay, Vanessa, here we go. You ready? We're going to start one more time for you. Ready, set, go.
Wait, no, but I was like on a roll.
Yeah, you were.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Okay,
let, them know
again.
let everybody know what they're watching, Vanessa.
Breaking Apart.
There we go.
Even though Breaking Bad is really good, guys.
It is. It is.
Oh, that was too funny. Thank you for correcting me.
I didn't even catch it.
You know what? It's Retrograde. That's what's going on.
Retrograde.
Follow me at agape love underscore Reiki. And I'm sending it over to Ruby over here.
Come on, Ruby. You wanted the music. Here we go.
Yes. This is a Sailor Moon song, you guys, because we're going to be talking a little bit about Mercury today. It was only right to throw on some little Sailor Moon for the intro. You guys can follow me at IG, soy la misma Ruby. Today we have a guest with us. Ew. She's actually a celebrity stylist.
Okay.
She does my hair.
Get that right. Celebrity stylist. Get that right.
Well, she does my hair, that's why. No, I'm kidding. And she's my sister from another mister, another toxic friend.
La Tóxica.
La Tóxica.
Hi. I'm so
Welcome.
happy to be here. I'm so excited. My name is Anna Shell, and my Instagram is at Anna Shell.
What are you doing, Michelle?
What do I do?
Yeah.
I'm a hairstylist.
Okay.
Tell
For
us
the
a little bit
celebrities?
about you.
I've had some celebrity clientele, yes.
Okay.
Yes. I've experienced a little bit of, everything. So,
Do you have any cool
So-
stories to tell?
oh boy, we're going to have a whole show for that.
I can't wait. That's
We
that's
actually
really cool.
can.
Yeah.
No,
And
if
I can
told
talk
you
about
guys,
my celebrities as a server at some of these
Seriously.
like high-end. Yeah.
like people that you would never, it's like everything you would just never expect.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I mean, not just with celebrities, but just in the high-end world of salon, you see literally everything
Have you seen Piojos?
except that.
Oh,
They got money. So,
Have you seen Wingworm yet?
no.
Ringworm? You know where the people get the
Oh,
circle on the back of it?
No, never did. I don't know. I've never seen anything like that, but I've seen like some, tangled up extensions from God knows what they were doing the night before. That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta
Vegas was popping.
I went to beauty school, and I remember when I was on the floor, and I had a client, and I was washing her hair. Kid you not, I found a Cheeto in her hair.
Oh my God.
Yes, and I remember there
Wait,
was
was
other
it a hot Cheeto?
It was a hot
so she was
Cheeto.
Latina.
Did you eat it is the question.
No,
Yeah.
I smelled. I was like,
You know
it's
what's
hot
funny?
Cheeto.
I thought about that too. I was like, did you eat it? I would think about it, but I wouldn't do it.
No, but I remember I was washing her hair, and then all of a sudden the Cheeto comes out, and then the girl that was washing her client's hair on the other bowl was like, I'm like, yes.
Awkward.
But
That's what's fun about the industry is like that. I feel like you can't make these things up. Like the most oddest things happen. I wish I would have found a Cheeto in someone's hair. That would be pretty funny.
yeah.
I've seen other things like money being thrown up in the air, demanding appointments.
Jeez.
I've seen money thrown up in the air too. Ew.
Okay, not like that. I'm
Oh.
talking in a sober setting.
Oh
Yeah.
damn. Never
I know
Like-
Ruby's on a whole nother level.
I
She's
know.
thinking of
I'm
something
like
else right now.
before 10 p.m. Like,
As a student, I had a lady once.
Wait, is 6 a.m. considered before 10 p.m.?
Kind of, yeah.
is
Yeah.
that glass half full, half empty?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it depends on. This is Vegas,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
so you can,
Yeah.
Ruby, live
Yeah.
your life, girl.
That's right.
Be happy.
Yeah. It's a great question though.
Actually, I'm very happy because Mercury is popping.
Hmm.
And even though
For who?
retrograde
For
is
who? Speak for
horrible
yourself.
for everyone,
For who?
retrograde is horrible for everyone. It's actually really good for a Gemini.
What you got in that drink, though?
Oh, so this is going to be a michelada.
Yum.
In a Starbucks cup. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. in the
No
Star-
one's going to know.
Well, now they
Right.
know because I'm a really bad liar. So if you ask me, I'm going to tell you because I don't like to lie. It's a michelada. Mercury made me do it. So Vanessa, tell us about this retrograde since you're
Yeah.
into that.
Yes,
I
guys.
just know that it's like, from what my understanding is like, just be ready for everything to fall apart. That's my understanding.
So basically, the actual what Mercury in retrograde is. So basically, Mercury is the fastest orbiting planet. So it orbits in 88 days as opposed to, it takes us 365. So it orbits 3 times. I think it's about 3 times around in the one time that we do it. So in those times, there is a point because of the speed that from our view, like our astronomers and our astrologers, when they're looking with our their what is it, like eye view or eyes view, something like that.
Yeah.
It looks like Mercury is actually going backwards instead of forward.
Oh, wow.
Right? So that's they call
really
that Mercury. But it's just an optical illusion. It's not actually going backwards.
Oh.
It is moving forward, but because of the fastness of it, how quickly it's the velocity, that's what it looks like. It looks like it's actually moving backwards. So, with time and study and just, a lot of astrologers, I want to say, have noticed that when Mercury is in retrograde, shit hits the fan on Earth.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a thing. It's, if you are into astrology, I think
not, shit hits the fan on Earth because of humans, but I mean, shout out to Mercury for making it worse.
Or for having someone to blame.
Yeah.
But it's a fun fact. It's, like back in the Egyptian time, they used to actually, when Mercury was in retrograde, for them, it's a time of reflection. So it's a time to calm down, to slow down, to have reflection. You're not supposed to make any big life-changing decisions. Don't sign any new contracts. Don't go out and buy a new car. Don't quickly decide, I'm moving to the mountains right now. Like, you're not supposed to make those big decisions. And then also, Mercury rules communication. So it's also known that during retrograde, your communication devices seem to fail. You'll have your computers will malfunction, your phones, your internet, your TVs, stuff like that will happen. And then also there'll be miscommunications with your friends, your family. So they advise try not to argue, try not to, say something without thinking because it will cause a certain effect. So with that said, when Mercury is in retrograde, people in, astrology or astronomers or, some spiritual people, they use that time to kind of relax, take some time to themselves, reflect, kind of look at what they've created for themselves or look at what we've created as a collective in the world, because it's not a time to make rash decisions. So what do we do when we're not doing that? We should be reflecting on what we've done, what we're doing, what we want to do, make a plan. And I think the Egyptians actually used to use it for that. It was their time to kind of take a step back and look at what they had built, what they had done. It was a time for planning, because retrograde is only about 3 weeks. So after retrograde, then you make the big plans. Then so right now it's from September 27th to October 18th. So we're in retrograde those days. And so you have, about 3 weeks to kind of I always say proofread your life.
Yeah,
Kind of,
really cool.
I'll tell my clients, proofread your life, look at everything and change, write on there, okay, this isn't working out for me. Write it down. I want to add this. I want to do this. I want to do that. And then once Mercury retrograde is over, then you take action and you put that into effect.
Would you say it's reevaluating your life in some way, or, just kind of going back to the drawing board and saying okay, this works, this doesn't work.
Yes.
And taking a moment to sit on it and
Exactly.
then take action after.
Yes. So it's a good
That's
time
really cool.
to reflect, and it's a good time to meditate. It's a really good time as well to use your intuition, your gut feeling, instead of listening to what your friends say or your bosses say or what the media is saying. It's a really good time to kind of just sit with yourself and listen to yourself, not others, because that's what happens sometimes. There's miscommunications, there's bad decision making because you are not listening to your own instincts. You're listening to the advice of everybody else. So retrograde is a really, really good time to kind of sit with yourself and, explore.
That's cool. That's really cool.
So just real quick, so we can move on to the next subject. Astronomy and astrology, there's a difference. Astronomy has been accepted by scientists. It's a study of everything outside of the atmosphere through scientists, study of like the movement of planets, study of like the galaxies, even study of all that, even though, you know, now Pluto is not a planet. Astrology is also the study of planets and everything out in the atmosphere, but it's how it affects people based on when you're born, based on what was in motion at that time. And even though it's pretty consistent, and even though there's a lot of like fact behind it, it is not supported or backed up by scientists. So that's why astrology has not been accepted yet. It's kind of like religion and mythology, right? Like there's a lot about mythology that like kind of can relate to the Bible, but one is accepted and one is not, right? And I guess it's kind of like who took the book at the right time and made it official. But that's the difference between astrology and astronomy. So we're moving on to the next subject.
Anyway, welcome to Mercury in retrograde.
Thank you, Mercury. So we're moving on to the next subject, and we're going to be talking about financial responsibility for men based on status of relationship.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, 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 dun. So we have someone in the studio who's a male. You guys can't see him yet. He's married. Vanessa's
I'm the
married.
voice of God. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we're not being biased here where it's like all women.
Yeah, so he's
right.
like he's a bush. The whole ass bush over there. And then we have Vanessa who's married, and then we have Anna Shell who's in a relationship and lives with her boyfriend. And then you have me.
And then we have you.
La
Who I
misma
will be-
Ruby.
I'll be talking about the dating
Ruby.
side of things.
Oh my gosh.
So we're gonna talk about dating and the expectation of men. Okay. So it seems like it's always been a thing where men pay for dates, right? You pay for the first date. It's the men's responsibility. It's something that's been like molded into our culture, right? Now, for me, now online dating is really popular, right? We live a lot faster now. You know, it's where everyone's always on the move. It's kind of hard to meet people. So, I mean, I do online dating. I can't say it's the best, and I'm probably never gonna do it again. But,
What are you
for
using?
me, we're gonna talk about this on a different episode
Oh,
because
boy.
we just talked about. It's funny. We just talked about that, like what you use makes a big difference because one is
For
free
sure.
and one is not. So people that probably paying are a lot more serious, but they're not as cute. But we'll talk about that another time. So
If you're paying, you're ugly. I'm not looking for you.
That's right.
if you're paying, no. So for me, if I meet you online and we're like, all right, let's see how we, you know, if we connect in person, I don't think the guy should pay. I don't think it's a date. I think it's a mutual agreement of let's see if we even connect prior to even going on a real date, prior to you picking me up. Because if we go on this meet and greet and we get along great, then I'm willing to go on a date. Then you're going to pick me up. We're going to a fancy dinner. I'm going to get ready. But if we're just filling our energy, I don't think you should be paying.
So can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
How would you define that though? And how would you find the balance? And what I mean by that, if you're on a first date with a guy, majority of women, at least, because, you know, I met my wife on POF. You know what I mean? It's a
Plenty
dating
of
app.
fish, by the
So-
way.
And here's the thing.
How long ago?
It's been 7 years now.
Okay.
So I'm not going to lie and act like I didn't have fun. I had fun on the app. Trust me, I did. And she knows that I didn't hide any of that. But I was also honest with people on the app. Basically, fast forward. If you meet a guy in person, it's your first date, right? If he doesn't even expect or try to pay, though, doesn't that kind of look bad on him? Now, that's one. And two, if you're saying that a guy shouldn't have to pay everything, then how do you have that conversation when the bill does come?
Well, you should have that conversation prior to the bill, right? I think we're adults, and I think a lot of times misconception comes because nobody's willing to say anything. I'm gonna be honest, like, hey, like we're gonna meet at a coffee shop. It's not a real date. I need to see that you're really 6 foot and not 5'10", right? Because men lie too. I need to see you without that that cap on your head. Because, you know, they might say we filtered things, but the beard and the hat, bro, don't play with me.
Like take the hat off and you make sure you have hair.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And then they want to flex for the gram. But let's really talk about goals and motivation. So to me, that's not a date. That's literally an interview. And when you go to an interview, the company doesn't pay for your meal.
You said an interview. Wow. Okay.
Right? I mean, am I lying though? Like your company doesn't pay for your first interview. If they want you to come back, then they start offering like cookies and drinks, and then they're like trying to reel you in. And once they hire you, what happens? They start supplying you with a meal. You go to orientation, and then it's like, hey, I'm gonna provide a meal for you. But if like I'm going to an interview, and that's what it should be, and I think we don't look at it that way. So a lot of times we're like, well, maybe if we go to a second one. No, if it didn't work the first interview, it's not gonna work the second. They're just gonna be more comfortable.
I mean, it's an interesting perspective.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion. If I meet you online and we're gonna feel each other's energy, I don't expect you to pay. If you pay, cool. I'm gonna leave the tip no matter what, cause I don't owe you nothing. And that's the problem with today's world. People think cause they pay for you, now you owe them something too. And I'm not about to put myself in a situation where you're like, well, we didn't vibe, but I paid, so what's popping? No, you didn't pay, and we didn't vibe, so have a good day. I don't even save numbers until like the 4th, 5th date.
But is that pride? Is that your pride?
No, it's me. It's me making sure that person doesn't expect anything, so they're not disappointed. Because I've been disappointed plenty of times.
So when you go on a date, is it just transactional for you? Like,
That's a great question.
So when I go on a date, it's definitely transactional for me.
So do you open yourself up to even having a chemistry,
Yeah.
or you're just like,
No.
what are your intentions with me?
Well,
young man?
you can't fight. You can't fight chemistry.
No, that's true.
You can't fight chemistry, right?
But you have to be open.
Yeah. Well, if I'm meeting with you, it's because I'm already open.
Well, you know what? I can definitely say, and Ruby was there with my man and I. I was not looking like at all, and it was like a firework moment where it was, I don't know. He every time he talked to me, I'm just like, why are you talking to me? Like, I just went through a breakup. I'm really not trying to entertain any man, but it was just like a firework moment. So, and I could definitely say I was fully resistant. So I don't know that's just from my own personal experience. I can't really say that like that goes for everyone, obviously.
Right.
But with I guess just to piggyback on what you're saying, like I've had the experience of like definitely not being open, and it still happened, because you can't deny
you
chemistry.
you can't fight chemistry.
But at the same time, I do get where you're coming from also, where it's like, are you already walking in with the wall up, and you're just like, okay, so what are we doing?
Exactly.
No,
is that what you meant? Like,
yeah, no,
okay.
totally.
When I go on a date, it's not like, I don't go on a date with like, what's your intentions? What are you doing? What's your, I go on a date and I want it like casual, right? Like we're getting to know each other, right? Like I want to know you, you want to know I let it flow naturally. But sometimes there ain't no flow.
That's true.
There's nothing, right?
That's a point. Yeah.
So to me, it's like, why should anyone pay for that? Right? And usually when there is a connection, they won't let you pay, period. So connection is lacking when they're cool splitting it. And you shouldn't expect a second date.
Well, I haven't gone on a date in so long.
I know. I'm like, because I'm not
like,
all the
it's
people
been
in
a
their
while.
relationship in the room are like, wait, did I pay the first time? Did they pay?
I'm like,
for me.
how does it go down?
Let me tell you, if they feeling you, they're not gonna let you pay.
And
That's the secret.
That's the
if
point.
they're feeling you, they're not gonna let you pay.
And not only that, think about it. Whether you're male or female, if you end up being the one that pays in the beginning or pays mostly when you go out, it's expected upon you moving forward in the
Yes.
relationship. So if you
Yeah.
go out one day and I don't happen to pull out my wallet and you do it first, it's like, what the hell? Or if I've been opening your door every single time we go out on a date and I forget to do it on one date, it's like, oh, wait a minute, what's going on here? You know what I mean? So
That's why you gotta set those boundaries from the jump.
Yeah.
You gotta have that level of communication, because if you text someone good morning every day for 3 months and then you don't text them for one day, I promise you they're gonna do something wrong, and then their mind's gonna be going crazy. So it's really important to really set those boundaries and let people know, like, hey, listen, this is what I feel comfortable with. These are my beliefs. We didn't vibe today. Let's just split the bill and move forward. Because nobody should pay for that.
So what I'm hearing you say is that you go into it
Open-minded.
completely neutral.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't work, then it's like, okay, let's just split the bill. And then,
Move forward.
like, have a good day.
Yeah.
Sir.
And a lot of times, like I said, if they're like, no, I got this, a lot of times it's because they're in it.
Okay,
They're
but what
feeling
if you're not? Do you go, no, let's just split it? Or do you let them pay?
No, I tell them, let's split it.
So you're like a head coach. And the reason I
But
say that
yeah,
because you're
well-
into sports and you basically come in with a game plan ready to know what's going to happen on that date is what it sounds like.
Okay, let me ask you
Well,
this.
you never know what's going to happen.
I would like to know your opinion on
Okay.
this. If a woman did that to you, sorry, no disrespect to your wife,
No,
But
it's fine.
I'm just putting
Did what?
So if a woman, so say you went on a date with a woman,
Okay.
and Ruby, let's just say you went on a date with Ruby,
Mhm.
right? And then she did that. Would you feel demasculated?
If she did what exactly?
Like saying, yeah, it's not gonna work. So let's just go half and half.
No, to be honest with you, I would respect her more
Really?
for that.
Huh, okay.
Because if I know that I'm trying to do something on a date because I met this person, I'm trying to get farther, and I don't mean sexual, I mean in general, just
Right,
farther, get to
right.
know this person, do more, have a life or whatever it may be. If she lets me know right off the bat, hey, it was cool, but it's just not for me, let's do this, that's a whole lot better because I know that I don't have to continue to try to do
Oh.
something, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because me as a guy, from relationships that I've been through and all that, I always want to impress the female that I'm going out on a date with. Even if it's the first time that I meet you, I want to make it impressionable. I want to make sure that you remember me. Even if
Right.
it's the last time you ever see me and you say it's not it, I want to make sure that it was a good date. So the fact that a woman would come out and say that, I think I would accept it. I would be respectable to that, and I would respect her a lot more, in my opinion.
Well.
Because you're not beating around the bush at that point.
I always assume, well, I guess I've taken a relationships class, and one thing that they really spoke about, or they like really want to teach, is the difference between masculine and feminine energy. So I've always wondered, obviously I'm a woman, I don't
Correct.
know what a guy or a man feels, but I do wonder if by doing something like that could meet a man at their masculine level, and then they're gonna feel like,
Yes.
You
So
feel
Well,
what
it
I mean?
depends. You have some guys that their grapefruits are a lot bigger than others, if you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
yeah.
And then there's others that have that feminine side of them to them that
Gotcha.
don't mind that. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
I guess it all depends on the guy more
Yeah.
than anything. Yeah.
It's
All
more
right, Vanessa, hit us with the energy
I
talk.
am
Yeah,
like-
that's right.
So yes, there is such thing as masculine and feminine energy, and we are all supposed to have a balance, right? We're all supposed to have equal parts feminine, equal parts masculine, in order for us to be able to navigate the world and to be able to communicate with other humans and be able to understand them, and like a man is supposed to be able to have that feminine side to be able to understand a female and vice versa, right? But throughout life, depending on your upbringing, depending on your traumas, depending on your personalities that we develop due to the traumas that we have, we either overcompensate. So we either develop a stronger masculine energy or a more feminine one, and that's where when you have too much of one and there's not a balance, there's confusion.
Oh, I see.
There's a lot of confusion, and then the person themselves are going, how come this is happening to me? And it's like, well, maybe you have too much female energy and you don't have enough so that's why you're not standing up for yourself. You don't have that willpower. And then there's the other, like, how come guys are this, or like they just want me to be their friends, let's just say. Well, maybe you have too much masculine energy and you're just one of the boys, and so you need to always have a balance, because we have both. We have, feminine and masculine energy in our auric field. It just depends on which ones we choose. And usually the people that overcompensate, it's a defense mechanism, so that's my intake on.
Interesting.
So, if you guys have an opinion on this one, go ahead and leave your comment. You guys can call. The phone number is on there. We're gonna
702-608-3259. Just trying to help Ruby out.
Can
Thank
I
you.
I'm like the fun facts girl because
that.
I have a lot of just information in this brain. I do know the history though of it's the written history of how the whole male being like the dominant of paying and the money, how it came about. So
wait. We're gonna leave that for marriage.
n-
We're just talking about dating.
well, no, this is like history. This is just like how like before it used to be one way and then it turned into another, but it has nothing to do really with dating.
Back in the day, dating wasn't as popular. You met and got married.
No, this has nothing to do with all that. Let me just explain to you really quick. Listen up.
Let her talk, Ruby.
Yeah.
I just wanted this towards the end. Sorry, go ahead.
So women, back in history, women used to be the ones who had all the money. They used to be the healers. They used to be the landowners. They used to be the ones that basically had all the wealth. And then over time, there was back in the Roman time, a lot of males started to realize how much money these women were making. They were like, what? Like these midwives and these healers, they owned all this property, and they had different types of schools and stuff like that. And they realized, gosh, like women have all this money and the women have power. Now, it didn't mean that the women were abusing the power. It just meant that women were in control. The women were the leaders. There was goddesses and, all of that. So, males come and they decide to take that, So then what happens is they took all the healing modalities from the women, and they took upon it to be their job. It was their job to be healers. And then that's how, like, you come about, and then you realize, like, there was a time when it was only like male doctors, because that's how history began, where at first it was all females, and then the men came and started realizing how much wealth they were accumulating, and they wanted that because they wanted the power. So they took all of that. And so then the men became, the healers, and then the men became the property owners, and then the roles kind of changed, and then they're the ones that took over everything, and women had nothing. They kind of just took over everything.
I had no idea.
So to add to that, because there was also no DNA back in the day, your mother had to be the one with the if you were Jewish, it wasn't your father that had to be Jewish, it was your mother. So the women had the control of what your bloodline looked like.
Yeah.
So your dad could have came out of an imperial palace, but if the princess was an imperial, neither were you. Because since there is no DNA test and there was no proof of testing that was your child, so what they would do is they would marry a very wealthy female because they knew that she was wealthy. So the child automatically will be wealthy. Versus if the man claimed to be Jewish, there was no real DNA way of proving that. But the girl could, because she was the one giving birth to everyone.
Isn't there like a saying in Spanish about that?
I don't know what is it.
What is it?
I don't even.
Oh,
but
Why would
It's
you
like
bring it up?
hijos de tus hijos.
Hijos de tu madre? No, I'm just kidding.
no.
No,
No,
there's like a
I know,
saying,
I know,
like,
I know
hijos
exactly
de
what
tus
saying you're talking about,
hijos
but I don't know how
será,
it
or
goes.
something like that. I don't know.
I'm not sure. But, with that said, I feel that that's how this whole male being like the dominant financial provider came about.
Like stems from that.
It stems from that, the fact that they decided to take on that role, because women had that role prior. And they decided they wanted to take it over. And so but I feel like we're kind of shifting again. We're shifting into more female roles, more female,
So this was prior to Bible days.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So before like the Old Testament days. Okay.
Yes.
Because in the Old Testament there is biblical verses where it says like if the man can't provide for his family, he's like worse than a non-believer. So that men were put on that pressure. So let's move on to boyfriends. There's always been a debate on, is a boyfriend and girlfriend relationship as strong as a marriage? Is a boyfriend and girlfriend relationship, if you move in, what kind of privileges come with responsibilities or privilege come with being a boyfriend and girlfriend? There's biblical ways to look at it, and then there's non-biblical ways to look at it. Biblically, technically, you're single until you're married, right? And no one, and the man is not responsible for a woman until you're their wife, his wife. I'm like, who's there? His wife, right? So
like they become one.
Right? Like every story in the Bible, like God is like, leave your family, go with your girl, build a nation, chicken bang bang, make hella kids that we can't say ever when you're reading the Bible, put names on them. So biblically, we've always been molded to believe that unless you're married, that relationship has no value. So in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, and we're gonna have to make this like a 10-minute topic. What should be the responsibility of both sides when it comes to splitting financial responsibilities? Do you think?
I think that the man should always take on a little more, like a 60-40.
Why?
Why though? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just asking why. I want to know your opinion.
So my opinion, I mean, now obviously my man and I, we have a baby. So I think that we already have a really big responsibility together. but I do feel like I look at a man as him being like the head of the household. So, I mean, I feel, hold on, let me think of how I want to word this.
Wait, definition of head of a household.
Like the leader of the house.
Okay.
The decision maker.
In what way?
Maker.
Yeah, because there's spiritual and then there's financial. Like spiritually, the man is supposed to be the head of the household.
Right. I do believe that. I feel like men thrive, going back to just the masculine energy, being the providers, like the hunter gatherers, and then the women being not the caretakers, but us being the more nurturers, so I feel like men work best, or they thrive the best when they're the providers. They're the what do you call it? Help me out here.
Like
the main
the
one.
ones in control?
No, I wouldn't say the control. I wouldn't use that word. I just feel like men thrive best when they
providers.
Yeah, providers. I'm trying to say when they give more, but that's not the word I want to use.
I know what you mean by the fact that, like, when a man is able to take care of his family, they're able to, provide for them and give them, a beautiful life, and be able to always put food on the table, roof over their head, clothes, all of that. It makes them feel valued, and it makes them feel, kind of like, it gives them some sort of worth. Like they feel strong, like they feel I don't know, I can't think of
like
the word.
I feel, from my experience or my perspective of men, I feel like men thrive when, like, they're in the woods, and I don't know, I could be wrong, you can totally correct me, and I feel like men don't need to be heard or be told, like, oh, I love you, you look great, I love your hair. Like, I think men like to be complimented, but I do think that men thrive best through providing, versus women, we are more emotional than men are.
Yeah.
Men are more physical. So I feel like, I don't want to shoot myself in the foot. I don't want to say that women have more.
But is that your boyfriend's job, or is that your husband's job? Is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, yeah, that is a good point. I guess what I'm thinking is, in my situation, we have a child, so I guess maybe it's a little different. Like, we're in a relationship, but we also have a really big responsibility. Like,
I don't really see
a little human.
I think if you have children and you live with your partner, I don't see a difference between, and you've been living with them for like years and years and years, and as opposed to like having a ceremony that is, there's a meaning behind it. But I also think that, like, for example, I feel that I'm married, and my husband and my responsibility, like, let's say, is probably like the same as yours and your boyfriend, and you guys aren't married and we are, but it's very similar.
Right. Yeah.
Because we have kids, and so we take on these responsibilities to make sure that our kids are taken care of.
Absolutely.
You know? So I don't really.
And I do think that, like, in our situation, like, I do work part-time, right? My man works full-time, but it also, by him being able to provide a little more financially, he takes that sacrifice. But then I also take the sacrifice of doing, like, and it might sound like I'm going back to the traditional, woman cooks and cleans and all that, but I actually don't mind doing that. Like, take off a little bit of that financial burden off of me, but I'll make sure that the house is taken care of.
So I got a question for you guys.
Sure.
You're talking about the relationship, the finances, things like that. The man should be what he should be, or what you feel in your eyes that you've seen, right? So let's say you make more money. And I'll be honest, I'll open it up. I don't care. My wife makes more money than me. She has the 7 years that we've been together. It's just the type of job that she does. She's always been great at it. She's moved up, done good, right? I've been in and out of a few jobs here and there, whatever, but it hasn't changed our relationship. Does that conversation come up from time to time? Yes, because, I want to do this, or I want to spend on this. But it's never, I make more than you. I bring home this. I bring home that. What are you doing? In your eyes, all three of you, is it bad when a woman makes more than a man in a relationship at all?
No.
Because
That's why
that is kind of our current situation, actually. I do, sorry, babe, but I do bring in more, and I think that
and
also,
we're not bringing down our spouses. We're just having a conversation
not at all.
about it.
I love that topic. I definitely don't think it changes anything. I think it's the simple fact that, like, as long as you're doing your best and I'm doing my best, like, I'm not asking you to be a millionaire, but I also I shouldn't say, yeah, I have expectations to be taken care of. So
Correct.
that,
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
But you're not looking at the finances
No.
as in, why aren't you bringing more money or this
Exactly,
and that? But
yeah.
you still, as a woman, want to feel I'm taken care of. I'm okay.
Thank you for
I have
clarifying
man.
that.
I got
That's
you.
exactly it.
So to me, I'm a little different. So I lived in a relationship with a baby.
Okay.
So I had a kid. I lived in a relationship. I believe in 50-50. For different reasons. One, especially about making more, they shouldn't be paying more. Period. We can pay equal, but they shouldn't be paying more. I should be motivating them to pay more, and I should probably be allowing them to take courses for something to better themselves. Both ways, female and male. This is not a one gender thing, right?
Helping each other out.
Right. So like if I'm not making good money, I feel like your responsibility is not to be like, well, I'll pay more bills. It should be like, yo, you need to do better. Like, period. Because if you're gone tomorrow, what are you really relying on? Right? Child support ain't gonna give you 50. I'll tell you that right now. Child support might give you
25%.
Not even. They give you 10%. And if you're lucky, because if they get paid under the table, you're not getting that 10%. So I don't think anyone should get used to someone else paying anything for you. Right? Period. Because we live in a society where everyone's breaking up, unfortunately, right? Not everyone, big majority. So to me, it's like relying on each other, I feel should be an emotional, spiritual thing, not a financial thing. I don't think that you being my man, I'm your woman, I'm not your child, right? And you're not my child. So let me tell you, if I didn't cook tonight, figure it out. I'm tired too, right? So to me, for the longest time, I used to be well, I cook and clean. But why? Because I was raised that way? And how does that justify me telling you gotta pay more?
But you do like to you do
Oh
like
yeah,
to
but
cook
I
and
like
clean.
to cook for y'all too, for my friends
So
too.
I mean, it's not like it's a chore for you. You
No,
actually enjoy.
But I mean, on and off our relationship, I do.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
cooking. You
And I
guys.
agree.
really
I
does.
don't think that any woman should be required to
Right.
cook for their
No.
man. With all due respect, my wife doesn't cook that much,
Yeah.
but I love to cook.
Yeah.
I'm not a great cook, but I'd rather be in the kitchen or on the grill cooking something. And I could care less if she comes home and wants to cook or not. I'm not that type of guy that goes, you're a woman. There's certain things that you should be doing as a wife, or there's certain things you should be doing as a housewife. No, we're all equal in my opinion.
Exactly.
Granted, there's things that we're not equal on, and it's always going to be that. I get that. But at the end of the day, just because you're a female doesn't mean you got to do this, or you're a man, you got to do this.
Absolutely.
We could all respect each other and be one at the end of the day.
Yeah.
In my situation, my husband and I have switched roles right now.
How so?
So he was, working, and I was a stay-at-home mom. Like I had just had a baby. I'm also my mom's caretaker. So I had a lot of things going on in my home, and I wasn't working. So he was the one that worked full time. He provided 100% for us. And, like she says, I took care of the house. I made sure everything was, up to par. Like I made sure there was dinner every day. I was the one going to the grocery store. I took care of the kids. I made sure, that he felt supported as well, and I always was there like pumping him up, like, come on, baby, you could do this. And, the same thing with me. Like he would be like, oh, the house looks amazing. Thank you so much. Like dinner was, it was delicious. Oh, the kids look great. Oh my gosh. Like our daughter's so, so funny because of you, so he always, and so we always kind of like complimented each other on that and like pumped each other up in the roles that we were in. And then I remember I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to like go into like the, working force again. However, because I do have my own business, I needed a lot of help from him. Right. It wasn't like I just went and got like a 9-to-5 job and no, like I am, I'm building something. And so he had to support me. And so then he took on the role of like, he's very stable in his job now. So he, he takes care of the kids, he cooks, he cleans. And sometimes I'm gone all day, sometimes I'm doing sessions, all day. I also have a practice in California. So I go to California by myself for the entire weekend to do clients there. And he stays home with the kids and helps me with my mom.
Wow.
you know, and he pumps me. He's like, babe, like you can do this, like you're doing great, your business is going to expand. And you know, so now he's motivating me, and the more he motivates me and the more that I feel supported, the more money I make and the more clients, and I have that like positive vibe, that's like that confidence. And so, and with him, I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much. And he's an amazing cook, by the way. Like he didn't cook when I met him. And now, like, even like my son's like, who's cooking tonight? And I'll be like, he is. Yes.
Oh
You
my
know, because
gosh.
he's so good. And I think that's great. So we've like flip-flop roles, and
And it works.
it works.
That's awesome.
So I don't think that really it should be one or the other. I think it should be a balance, a compromise, depending on like what you're doing at that time. So
Right.
and like the things that he does in his job, like you know, he'll go golfing, or he'll go to like conventions, and he could be gone all day as well for like 3 days in a row. And neither one of us, like whenever we get home from like having a long day or a long weekend, we don't ever tell each other like, "Ugh, my God, I've been here all day, blah 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 blah." Like that doesn't happen. You know, it's like, hey, so how was your day? And like, you must be tired, and tell me all about your day. Like, I want to know. And he'll tell me all about his day. Or on like when I come back from California, he's like, tell me like, how was it? And like, did you do good? Did your clients were, you know, satisfied? And you know, so we have this conversation, and it has absolutely
awesome.
nothing to do with I'm tired, I'm miserable, the kids, they bugged me all weekend, or like, you know, I was
So
like,
you
"Ah."
support him no matter what. At the end of the day, you're
Yes.
giving him your support 100%. Whether you may not know much or like what he's doing,
Yeah.
you're still showing him support at the end of the day.
Yep.
It's like you're creating the space for him to be
Yeah.
whatever that is.
Yeah, and
Whether it's work, whether it's emotions, whether it's
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
So
Like,
that's really awesome.
yeah, and we're so different in what we do. Like, I'm very spiritual. You know, I do I do healing modalities, so I do Reiki and other things. And he's he's a wealth management advisor, so he's in like banking, and he's like very logical, and you know, so he listens to me, and he's like, okay, cool. And I listen to him, and sometimes I'm like, you know, and vice versa. But
Yeah.
we just always just pump each other up, and I'm like, cool, babe.
That's
You know,
awesome.
So would you say it's important to support each other, even though you may not know enough about what your partner is into? What I
think
mean
so.
by that, I get into it with my wife all the time. She thinks that when I go to an event, like last night I went to the Golden Knights game.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't there as a fan. I was there as media. I had credentials. So she doesn't understand when I'm working. She thinks you're going out, you're having fun, you're going to these games. Do you see it as, even though I don't know what it is or I'm into it as much as he is, I'm still going to support him with that no matter what?
Yes. Like he'll go to events, and he'll send me like videos of like mariachis, or like, cause there's music, and there's like, you know, galas and people, and I'm like, oh man, that's super cool. But, and he, you know, sometimes like, do you want to come? And I'm like, yeah, no, you know, or
But
or
you're
I'll-
still supporting him.
Oh,
Just because you're
totally.
not there, you're still acting like you're part of the conversation.
Right.
You're engaged. You care.
Yes,
Engaged,
and
that's
I
the word.
never, whenever he goes somewhere, and you know, he's working because he goes to these galas to work. I'm never like, how come you get to have fun and I don't? Like, no, it's your job. It's part of your job. You chose that job. If I wanted a job like that because I wanted to go to galas, I would have chose that road. But that's not who I am or what I want. And I think it's more important that we have a relationship where we respect each other, and we respect each other as individuals.
Love it. Love it.
Because we're both individual people. We're not, just because we're married doesn't mean like now we're like just all smushed together, and it's like,
Attached to the
I
hip.
am me,
But-
you are you.
But I do think that comes with marriage. I don't think that comes with boyfriend, girlfriend. I think there's a difference between commitment and covenant.
I don't.
And I think marriage is covenant. And I've learned that. But that's because your spiritual level is different. And you're still, you've already went past that. But for me, as someone who's been in a relationship where I've lived with someone and I had a kid, I will never put myself in emotionally and financially attached at that level with a boyfriend.
But would you say that you feel that way? Like, say, what if like it's not? What if it was Manny's dad? Like, I'm not saying using him as the example of like. I'm not speaking on.
No, that's who I'm
Big
speaking
Daddy.
of, though.
No, I know, but I'm saying like, what
Yeah,
if
but you don't like Manny.
Make
No,
it
I
clear.
know, but what I'm saying is if you
But
and
I don't
Manny,
like Manny not because of that. It's not because of money.
Who's Manny?
No,
Your
I
baby
know.
daddy?
My son's dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, what if you were still with?
And we weren't
him.
married? I wouldn't be with him if we weren't married by this time. period.
We're not talking about what he's done or what I'm talking.
No, I'm talking about if we were together and we were good and we had another kid.
But would you let him take on a bigger responsibility?
No.
Okay. Because I'm just using the example of having a child.
Because I feel like, you know, my son's dad was never a non-supportive thing for me growing. That was never an issue.
Okay.
So it's not like I can say he had an issue with me growing. We were young, you know what I'm saying? But, and I'm sure we would have got married if we would have stayed together. And I don't think marriage is the answer to all the problems. Don't get me twisted.
Absolutely not.
All I'm saying is you're gonna be a lot more scared to cheat on me, and we got a prenup, and you on my life insurance, and you might act a little better, right? When you're in, but that's what I'm saying. Like, but what I'm saying is like we're at that place now. We're not too many people take relationships serious, right? Everything's for the gram. One day you love each other. You're in an amazing position. I support my girl. The next day, they see something better on social media.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, females don't have the same respect as the females don't have the same respect for married men, or don't have the respect for men in relationships with married men that they should have. Unfortunately, we're in that place in life. So to me, marriage is important because to me, when marriage changes to me is I'm a little more afraid because there's so much more when it comes to a divorce than a breakup. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to lose 100% because if you've been holding me back because I'm being a stay-home mom, now you got to help me on 2 different financial levels for me to do what I couldn't do because I was being that supportive woman and staying home.
But that should happen whether you are married or not married, and you lived with your partner and had a baby.
But not everyone thinks like us. And I'm looking at we might think that way. My son's dad and we're not together, and you know this. I don't go after his businesses. I think it's wonderful he's doing great. I think, hey, we didn't work out. That has nothing to do with what I want you to do with your life because my son's looking at you. Unfortunately, we live in a time when it doesn't work like that. We live in a time where I'm going to be your girl and I'm going to ride for you and stay home. And then you're going to take the next bad chick. Right? So I think everyone should have a level of security. So if that does happen, if you haven't done anything for 5 years, you don't end up in an 8-section home on food stamps because you don't have anything under your name. Because you've been that ride or die chick for 5 years and now they left you. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I just can't help but to think like, isn't it so sad that we got to that point?
Exactly. It is.
It's so sad.
Because back in the day, I would have been cool being a stay-home mom. Yeah. When I became a mom 10 years ago, 11 years ago.
Being a mom is a job.
It is.
It's a job.
But staying at home can also change your mentality.
It can.
I've been married twice. Let me throw that out there. I've been married twice, okay? First time I got married, not because I wanted to, but my wife was already pregnant with my second child. I had insurance. It was like, cool. Yeah, I have 4 kids. Okay. So it was like, you know, let's go ahead and make this happen, whatever, right? But she was a stay-at-home mom. She wanted to be an RN. I worked and put her through school. As soon as she graduated, God made it this way, I lost my job. She started working and became an RN. Oh, wow. It became as if everything I ever did not exist.
Oh, we're going to talk about that.
And neither did I.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. You have to have that balance too, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But that's why you should have protected yourself because now you don't got to give her prenup because you paid for her school. Right?
And
that's
I did
the protection.
And I did. Yeah.
And that's the protection of being married. But if you wouldn't have been married to her, you would have been like you would have had to do a lot more. You would have been fucked.
Yeah.
Right?
Pretty
but
much.
there are certain things that marriage protects you from in that situation. And that's what I'm saying, right? And we will talk about that. We will talk about how the divorce rate and after women get jobs done. And how they start getting jobs and they leave their husbands.
Yeah, they feel empowered.
Exactly.
Yes.
But that's why I'm saying my mind, I used to never want to get married. I didn't care. I think marriage is a paper. I don't think you putting a ring on me defines your love for me.
No,
Don't
but there's
change.
it's a commitment,
yes,
though.
It's a covenant.
It's like saying you are the one I want to be with for the rest of my life.
Like
and for someone to take that step, especially a man, not because I'm nagging you to do it, but because you made that decision. Like, no, better worse.
Exactly. I went to the store. I bought the ring. I got on my knee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was my,
it's a symbol, and symbolism is really big. It's like when you get baptized, you're proving to the world that you are, you're going to be Catholic, Christian, like you're devoting your life to God, right?
Yeah.
And then when you get married, and the reason why you wear a ring is because it's symbolic. It's the fact that you have made a commitment.
Right. The ring doesn't hold value.
No, it's the symbol and the intention behind what we have as society made this ring to be. Whether it's a promise ring, whether it's a wedding ring, or both. But that's really what it is. It's symbolic, the married. But there's people who have different types of ceremonies. Like there's shaman ceremonies, and there's no ring, and they're still they united in a ceremony. It's just not a traditional church one with rings and stuff. But that they're still married.
Yeah. But it's not the ring that, like, for me, we don't gotta get a ring. We can go get our freaking initials on the side of our finger.
No, I'm getting a ring. No,
for me,
I was gonna ask Anishel that too. Like, you're, we say when we're gonna throw it out there, but you're expecting a baby, and you have a baby daddy, but you're not married. I'm sorry, I don't want to throw that out there. I know Quan's here, but with you, you're not married yet, but you're living with your partner, right?
Yes.
You have that relationship. You have the kid.
Yes.
Does that piece of paper and that ring change anything to you if it never happens?
That's a great question.
You see what I'm saying? Because I've met women that have been with their men 20 years and they're still together, never got married, but they have everything: the house, the home, the family, this and that. Does the ring and the paper really, really mean that much?
Yes. The commitment, it's not necessarily the paper or the ring, it's the commitment you're making.
The thought behind it.
Yeah, I want, again, I'm spending the rest of my life with you. We have a family, so I want to take that step further to become one. And I also think that for me, it's also spiritual.
Okay.
Being a Christian.
Yeah.
I mean, there's times where I feel I feel guilty that I'm not married, but I think it's just, it could be a Christ-like thing. And that's it's the spirit in me, the Holy Spirit.
I also feel like accountability is different when you're married than when you're a boyfriend. There's a level of accountability
and a level of respect. I don't know why, and I could be wrong, but I don't want to be 40 years old and saying my boyfriend. I don't know if it's a status thing of it sounds embarrassing. We have. Oh,
I'm gonna be 40 saying my boyfriend.
We have a baby. No, but I'm saying with someone that you have
I get
children
it,
with, and then you're just my boyfriend. I feel like it's low key humiliating to know that your man never cared to want to marry you. You know what I'm saying? It's a deeper thought.
It is, but because I'm spiritual and not religious, I think that that's just how they have the.
But you're also married.
They have conditioned you, but I haven't always been married.
No, but you, but Saul is, you speak amazing things about him. So there was a level of joy when he asked you to marry him versus you want to be my girlfriend.
Yes.
Okay.
That's it was exciting.
It's different.
But I'm gonna tell you something. I think more than anything, when he proposed to me, and even maybe he knew this or not, but it was a lot of it had to do with my parents and how they were gonna see it, and the level of what is that seriousness that they saw in my relationship with Saulo, because he gave me that ring, and I also think that is the same in religion. When someone, what do? Is first they go and they talk to your parents and they're like, hey, you know what? I want your daughter's hand in marriage. Right. So it's kind of like a traditional thing. It's kind of like something that you have, it's your belief system. And so if that's your belief system, then you're going to grow up with that, and you're going to grow up thinking okay, this didn't go the way I was raised. This didn't go according to my traditions, to my culture, to my belief system. But when you don't have those belief systems of an institution,
can I say something now?
Yeah.
No, you cannot.
As of the past decade, more non-believers have got married than believers. So there's no culture behind it and no religion behind it.
That's fine, but it's the way that they get married. They don't get married based off of, I want to have a Catholic wedding or I want to have a Christian. But yes, people are getting married, but a lot of people are getting married just by different types of ceremonies and something that's meaningful to them.
But that's what I mean. I mean a meaningful thing. So maybe to you it's meaningful to make that become that one with that person, because when it's your boyfriend, you don't feel like you're one with that person. No matter how much people want to say, I feel like I'm the one with my boyfriend. You're really not. Because your boyfriend's still going to be like, you're not my
It's
wife.
like having
They
that, like your
even
foot
say-
halfway out the door. That's how
Yeah.
it feels like.
I mean, if you're with someone that goes, "You're not my wife," I mean,
Right.
I agree. I've lived with someone and I've been married and lived with someone. It's a completely different feeling, 100%.
So we're a little short on time. I don't want to cut nobody off. But I want to mention one more thing. In the military, if you cheat on your girlfriend, they don't kick you out of the military. If you cheat on your wife, they will strip you out your badge. You can no longer be military and you use all your rights. That is how serious we take marriage versus boy. That's another example. If you're in a relationship, they don't care if you got 10 kids with your girlfriend. If you cheat on your girlfriend, the military will let you continue being in the military. If you're married and you cheat on your wife, the military will strip you if they
it's
find
adultery.
out.
Adultery is against the law.
well, I don't know if you
It'll
guys
hurt you.
have noticed this, but people are not really even having boyfriends or girlfriends anymore. Now it's like we're just seeing each other. There's no
So
labels,
true.
none, no
We're
labels
dating.
anymore.
Yeah.
We're
That's what they
dating,
call it now.
and people are probably not going to, my cousin of mine said, I'm going to teach my daughter to be able to have a partner in life. So now it's about having a partner in life. It's not about a husband or a wife. So I think the culture's changing, and
So we're gonna talk about this again. I think there's so much more to talk about. I think we're gonna do this next week.
Part two.
If you guys have questions, we're gonna be posting this. We're gonna be posting on YouTube. Please share. We want questions. We're gonna do a second episode of this. Clearly, we have
lot
so
that
many
needs to be
different on the board right now.
This was a good one.
Yeah, I think that I'm with Vanessa. I think marriage is a paper. Unfortunately, because we live in the society we live in, this is why I've changed my mind about marriage. It's scary, it's sad, but it is what it is. So I'm not raising a son to take care of your daughter because she doesn't want to do good for herself. I'm raising a son to empower a queen, period. And that's how I feel. And that's who I am. So, Mercury, I need you to act right. Okay.
Everyone
Men,
slow down.
slow
Don't
down.
make decisions.
Slow down. Shut it. I forgot this.
take a breather.
So my name is Ruby. You can follow me at Soy La Misma Ruby on Instagram. Don't forget to follow Vegas Hype Media on Instagram.
Thank you, Anna. For
Thank
being
you, Anna.
Here.
Yeah,
and you're
you're
welcome,
welcome.
whenever
Yeah.
you want. You can come every Wednesday.
Where can they
Yeah.
find you?
At Anna Shell. That's it.
At Anna Shaw on Instagram, right?
On Instagram.
Yeah. Also,
Or TikTok. No,
or
I'm just kidding. I only have like 5 videos.
breaking underscore
Not Breaking Bad.
breaking no.
Not Breaking
But
Bad.
it's good. But it's good. Breaking underscore apart underscore POD at Instagram is where you can find our podcast. And then the queen
Just-
of energy.
Follow me at agape love underscore Reiki.
What does agape mean on your way out?
Agape means unconditional love,
Bet.
which is one of the highest forms of
And you can find that in the
frequency.
Bible
So,
as well.
That is right.
so love each other,
Peace,
guys.
we love you
each
guys.
other.
Go Raiders!
That was
Why can't I tell?